Alright, I'm back. I know, it's been a couple of days. Well, if any of you have been following the whole QAnon movement, the online leaker dropping info, then you know all about Alex Jones's channel getting taken down. And there's an attack on your First Amendment, freedom of speech. But I can't help but think maybe Alex Jones might have taken down his own channel to increase his popularity. Because as P.T. Barnum said, any exposure is good exposure. Talk bad about him, it's still a good thing because people are hearing about him. They're going to want to look to see what he's doing that made him get kicked off out of curiosity. Maybe he's using the whole reverse psychology against all the people. Just a thought. Because if you really look into Alex Jones, you realize that about 8 years ago, maybe 10, there was a lot of people who thought that Alex Jones was really a comedian. I can't think of his name offhand. I can picture him. I'm not sure of his name. But they think he was really a comedian that changed identities and came on the scene as a crazy, whacked out, right-wing conspiracy guy. I'm still trying to think of his name. Bill Cooper, maybe? No? I don't know. Anyways. The president now, President Trump, I know. The president, now you can get tweets from him directly on your phone. So if the president tweets something out on Twitter, we're technologically, publicly able to receive that tweet almost instantly as soon as he puts it out. And if you've been looking into the whole alternative news, media, whatever, you know that way back when they talked about Coffee, and there was a whole thing about, oh, he said Coffee, or he tweeted, what does that mean? What does that mean? Another one of the info streams I was looking at pointed out that during that whole Coffee time period, the president had passed an executive order that made it so his tweets are viewed as official record that are being archived as official presidential announcements or info. So it's tracked. So he's actually got a public record that is just his tweets, which basically means the American people have almost full transparency into his thought stream. He can tweet out what he's thinking, what he wants to say, and have all of the people instantly get the message. And he's archiving that, so he's also got transparency with it, so you can look back and see how things progressed mentally and how he came to decisions. Now, if you think about government as a business, if your business, let's say you work in a flower distribution place, wouldn't it make the most sense for every employee of that flower distribution place to understand how the business worked? From top to bottom, bottom to top. Wouldn't it make the most sense for everybody there to fully understand how their job works? How the flowers they're cutting and pruning get shipped onto a container and get delivered to a location to get bought by a customer. It would make the most sense for everybody to fully understand how this business works and to understand how the pay scales work and what's involved with that, so that you don't build animosity that's kept hidden because you've got employees at the bottom who are jealous at ones at the top. Because in their eyes, the ones at the top aren't doing anything. They're just making decisions and getting paid more for it. If you make all the employees of that business understand how the business truly works, and they know what's all involved, then it would be impossible for you to have a, completely out of sync pay scale where the CEO gets paid 400% of the lowest person. because everybody would understand how the business works. You wouldn't have a group that feels like they're smarter than the rest, so they deserve more. You would have a group that realizes, hey, you know, a lot of these decisions fall back on me, and I'm responsible. I'm the one who gets in trouble if they don't work. So they see their pay scale as a little bit more justified. But if everybody understands everybody will try harder because nobody feels like they're being made to do more. It's the same way with government right now. Trump is letting us all know how everything really works so that we can see how crooked the pay scale is corporate side. Because the U.S. transitioned to a corporation way back in 1871. If you really do your research and you look for yourself, instead of being spoon-fed info, you go clear back to 1871 and you realize that there was I don't remember the name of it, you have to forgive me, but they changed the Constitution of the United States to be the Constitution of the United States in all caps. It was corporatized and we went under a corporate law, and we've been using maritime law ever since. Yeah, it sounds a little bit conspiracy theory, but if you look into it, it's the legal ramifications of how everything's actually been transpiring, how it's actually been working. That's what you have to look at. Now, the common thing for most people is to think in their head, oh, that's just ridiculous. It's a right and just organization. It's for the right thing. We're the shiny city on the hill. But if you have been doing any kind of research, you can see that after the Federal Reserve was started, rich elite business people owned the U.S. In 1913, the Federal Reserve was created. Who started the Federal Reserve? The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Warburtons, the super rich families who decided, you know, I'm making a lot of money off my private bank, you know, in each locale, in each little district, or in each place. What if I privatized the whole country and I made interest on the whole country instead of just the people of a village? If I could get a whole country to use my bank and I could charge them all interest, I would be rich beyond comprehension. That's what they did, which is how the Federal Reserve started. The super rich banker business people realized that they could make exponentially more money, and that's what they've done. Now, those same rich businessmen who've got financial stake in the Federal Reserve also finance the movie industry. Hollywood. It used to be in New York before Hollywood was even started. If you control the movie industry, you control the entire population of the country, because you can give everybody who watches those movies predictive programming. If you look into human psychology at all, if you follow Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, if you look into actual psychology, you realize that psychology bases a lot of its findings off of ancient religious texts. Ancient religious texts are how populations of the past got society to follow a certain mindset, to follow a certain path, and that's how they did it. You show somebody when they're very young a situation. Let's say it's a foreign enemy invading your country. You show them that situation on TV. Now when they're a little kid, they see, oh look, we fought the bad guys, we won by doing this, this is how we won, and this is how much better it is because of it. Now in the future, should anything happen remotely similar to that event that you already showed them, their subconscious mind will go back to all the life experiences they've ever had to try to work out the best solution for what's currently at hand. So if you've already showed them a movie that portrayed that exact event, although fictional, their subconscious mind will go back to that event and see it as a solution to the current problem you're facing. That goes with everything. So if you realize that human psychology can be driven from birth, and you can shape a society within a couple of decades, if you realize that, then you start taking steps to ensure you'll never lose your power. The rich businessmen have been manipulating every single person in the U.S. since Hollywood's inception, and since the very first talkie moving picture with sound was released in the 30s, 20s. TV was the best propaganda tool ever invented. The people who are really running the world, the ones who are rich beyond belief, know this and have used it to their advantage. If we wouldn't have looked into all of these things that conspiracy theorists are saying is happening, we wouldn't know what we know now. The very term conspiracy theorist was brought about in the 60s, like 1964. That's when it was invented. Well, the term conspiracy theorist has been around for a long time. It's anybody who theorizes about a conspiracy that somebody has to either make money, hurt a population, take over. It's just two people conspiring and another person having a theory about it. That is a conspiracy theory. It was made, the public was made to think of it as a negative term by the TV right after the JFK assassination. Because a lot of people thought it didn't seem right, something wasn't making sense, the dots weren't connecting. And the only way to really shut them up was to make everybody view them as, crazy people. That's what they did. We're all conspiracy theorists. We've just been brainwashed by the TV to think that is a bad thing. Snap out of it and the world fixes in the blink of an eye. All it takes is for us to all change our perception. Keep looking, people. I'm going to keep looking too. We'll figure all this out, and it'll get better.